What is up, guys? MCMMA here. In today's video, I am going to be reacting to and recapping yesterday's fight night, headlined by Arman Tsarukyan and Dan Hooker. Overall, this was an amazing fight night. I mean, we knew on paper this was one of the most stacked fight nights of the year, maybe the most stacked fight night of the year, and the fights absolutely delivered too. Tons of finishes, especially on the main card. I don't think there's actually no. There's one decision on the main card, but even that was still a great fight. Super entertaining matchups, super high level matchups too. Let's just get right into this breakdown. All right, first off in the main event, number one ranked lightweight Arman Tsarukyan absolutely dismantled number 6 Dan Hooker. I mean, this fight played out about how I expected it to. I said in my breakdown that I thought Arman was just going to absolutely maul Dan Hooker on the ground, and he did that, like super easily. He was able to take down Dan in the first round. And I mean, Arman, you got to give him credit too. He was piecing Dan Hooker up on the feet. Like, he stung Dan Hooker badly on the feet a couple times, but we knew that the real, like, overwhelming advantage that he would have was going to be on the ground. So he took down Dan in the first round pretty easily. And then the second, he took him down and just absolutely brutalized him, beat him badly with some ground and pound, and then was able to secure the arm triangle submission, which is a good look for Arman because I believe that's his first submission win in the UFC, and we haven't seen too much of his submission offense in most of his fights. So good to see that he's developed that as part of his game too. As for Dan Hooker, I mean, he got battered. Like, there's no way around it. We knew this was going to happen. Realistically, that's why Arman was like a minus 800 favorite or whatever it was. But amazing performance from Tsarukyan. This was exactly what he needed after the really long layoff that he had, after all the shit that he's been getting from the fans and the media, which was somewhat deserved. And I mean, the guy's still like stupid as fuck sometimes. Like, he headbutted Dan Hooker that was the dumbest shit I've ever seen. Like, if he cut like himself or Dan Hooker there and they had to cancel the fight, oh my god, he might have gotten cut at that point just because of how mad Dana would be. But huge statement win for Arman. I think he absolutely has to be next for Ilia Topuria now. I made a matchmaking video for the lightweight division. I think it was like a little more than a month ago at this point, and I said that Ilia should fight Justin Gaethje, and the general consensus has been that Ilia is either going to fight Gaethje or Paddy Pimblett next. But I expected that they were going to book Ilia for his fight before this fight ended, and now that Tsarukyan versus Hooker has already happened, Arman took pretty much zero damage in the fight. He said he would be ready to fight in January. I don't see any reason why not to make this fight next. If Ilia tries to cherry pick a fight against Paddy or Justin Gaethje instead of fighting Arman, that's a really bad look. I do think that Ilia would still probably beat Arman, but it's a bad look when you're actively avoiding the clear number one contender to try and take easier fights. So I think Tsarukyan versus Topuria has to be next. I think that would be a great fight to put on the January card, the first Paramount card. You could do like Tsarukyan versus Topuria and then Aspinall versus Gane 2 as the two title fights on there. I think that would work out great. But yeah, Arman has to be next for the belt. I really don't see any other way around it. All right, next up, Ian Gary gets the decision win over Bilal Muhammad. This one also played out about how I thought it was going to. He was just a little better on the feet, outpointed Bilal, hit him with some nice kicks. Bilal's striking looked good. Bilal is he is clearly a good striker at this point in his career. He's looked good against both JDM and Ian Gary, but that has come at a cost of his takedown offense, or like his wrestling offense has been much less successful in his past couple fights. I don't think he's landed a single takedown in his last two fights, and as improved as his striking has been, when you're fighting like strikers at the level of Ian Gary and JDM, he's not a guy that's ever going to beat those guys in a pure striking battle. So I'm not sure. I think that is more due to Ian Gary and JDM's takedown defense than it is any issue with Bilal. But good performance from Gary. I'm not going to say it was overly impressive since this was about what I expected. I know Bilal is a really, really tough guy to finish, but Ian didn't get a finish, and I think that Michael Morales should still get the title shot before he does, just because his wins have been more impressive. But I wouldn't be shocked at all if they gave Ian Gary a title shot, because there is that kind of like Ireland versus Dagestan storyline that they could play into. Ian would definitely sell more pay-per-views than Michael Morales, since love him or hate him, Ian Gary is a pretty big star at this point, and he's going to attract a lot of attention whenever he fights. But I still think it should be Morales. As for Bilal, I think he should fight Kamaru Usman next. I think that was honestly the matchup that should have been made initially instead of him fighting Ian Gary. But Kamaru seems to think that he's just going to sit on the sidelines and get a title shot eventually. That's just not going to happen when there are like 4 contenders ahead of him who deserve a shot more. But Bilal should fight Kamaru Usman. I think that would be a sick fight. I'd probably lean Bilal there, and it would be a good build-up too, because those guys really fucking hate each other. But yeah, good fight in the welterweight division. I will be making a welterweight matchmaking video soon, but I'm waiting for the rankings update after Gary's win over Bilal Muhammad, and once that is done, I will release my video. But just holding on for that, so it'll probably be in like a day or two. All right, next up, Volkan Oezdemir gets the first round knockout over Alonzo Menefield. I mean, this is another one that basically went how I thought it was going to go. Volkan's just way better than Alonzo Menefield. Impressive performance from Oezdemir. He's a guy, when you match him up against these like lower level ranked light heavyweights, he's just going to beat the shit out of them. We saw him do it to Johnny Walker. We saw him do it to Bogdan Guskov in Guskov's debut. I mean, Oezdemir is a guy he's been a fixture in the top 10 for, I mean, God knows how long, for like fucking 9 years at this point. And he's not going to lose to a guy like Alonzo Menefield. Like I said, super impressive performance from Oezdemir. I would like to see him get a fight up in the rankings now. He's on a 2-fight win streak. Or not 2-fight win streak. He's 2-1 in his last 3, with his only loss being a fairly close decision to Carlos Ulberg. So I think a fight up would be fair for Oezdemir. Maybe like, I was going to say like Jamal Hill, but I know Jamal Hill's hurt. Maybe like Dominic Reyes or like Khalil Roundtree maybe. But I think Oezdemir deserves a fight up. As for Menefield, I mean, he's just not good. I said in my breakdown, I think he's one of the worst ranked fighters in the UFC. And he showed that. This was like, Volkan Oezdemir was the first like real opponent that he's faced in his past few fights, since his wins before this were against Julius Walker and Umar Sy, both guys who are absolute cans. And Menefield, like I said, just not very good. Also, this dude's 38 years old. I did not know he was that old. I thought he was like early 30s, but yeah, Menefield, just not very good. Good win for Oezdemir, and I would like to see him get a fight up the rankings next. Mytek Orolbai gets the first round knockout over Jack Hermansson. This was like, I mean, I didn't expect him to knock him out that easily, but like, what is Jack Hermansson doing? Like, why would you move down a weight class after getting brutally knocked out just a few months ago? I mean, the shot that Orolbai hit him with didn't even like land that clean. It kind of like grazed his ear, and he still got put out cold. Like it sucked to see, honestly, because I like Jack Hermansson. He's a guy who I've always had like a lot of respect for, but I really don't get what he's trying to do with his career at this point. As for Orolbai, great performance. I know he said in his post-fight interview that he was still trying to figure out if he was going to stay at 170 or go back down to 155, but I think that 170 is definitely the right weight class for him. We saw at 155 he really struggled to make weight, so I think that he should probably stick around at 170. And I think he's a guy who could definitely compete. I think he's a guy who could definitely make it into the rankings, maybe even like the top 10. And I would like to see him continue at 170. So I think that he should probably get a decently high, like highly, I'm not going to say highly ranked since it's literally not true, but like a guy in the unranked area who's like kind of close to the rankings, maybe like Randy Brown, like somebody like that who's coming off of a loss against a ranked opponent. But I think Orolbai should probably get a fight pretty close to the rankings next. Amazing performance by him. He's a guy who a lot of people have been fairly high on for a while, but like the weight issues were kind of deterring, were a bit of a deterrent. But now that he's at 170, and I hope he stays at 170, I think that those weight issues aren't going to be as big of a deal anymore. So excited to see what's next for Orolbai. As for Jack Hermansson, like he either needs to retire or go back up to 185. 170 is just not going to work for him. Like, Oral Dye is not a guy who's like a crazy power punch or anything. And like I said, he grazed Jack Hermansson's ear and put him out cold. So that's the same thing's just going to keep happening to Hermansson if he sticks around at 170. So I think realistically he should retire, but if he wants to keep fighting, I really want to see him go back up to 185 since I think that's the only place where he's really going to have any success at this point. All right, next up, Waldo Salsa Boy Cortez Acosta gets it done on 2 days' notice. Man, this dude's just a gangsta. Like, he keeps impressing me more and more with every performance. I was honestly kind of a Waldo hater at one point after his fight against Robelis Despain. Like, I was mad as hell that he just laid on top of Despain for 3 rounds, but he's he's really, really impressed me, especially with his last few performances. He took this fight on 2 days' notice, knocked out Shamil Gaziev, who is like not a bad fighter. Like, he is a guy in the division who has like some potential since he's got pretty quick hands. He's a pretty good striker. He goes out there, knocks him out in like just over a minute. Super impressive performance from Waldo. I know he said he wants to fight before the end of the year, but I really don't think that's going to happen. Since if he wants to get a fight, he's going to have to fight down in the rankings. And I hope he doesn't do that. Like, I know the dude loves to stay active, but there's no reason to kind of sacrifice your own progress just for the sake of taking another fight. So I would like to see him fight somebody in the top 5 next for sure. I think Curtis Blades makes a ton of sense. Whenever Curtis heals up from that MCL tear that he suffered in his last fight, I think he should fight Waldo next. As for Shamil Gaziev, tough loss. I still think he's got some potential, but at this point he has lost to the 2 competent heavyweights that he's faced so far. He lost to Rosenstrike, and now he's lost to Waldo. So I don't know if he's really gonna like contend anymore, but he's still a fun fighter. He's still gonna, you put him against these blobs, he's still gonna get a lot of knockouts. So Shamil's still my boy. He's still the boy. So hopefully he rests up. They give him some can in his next fight so he can spark him out cold. And yeah, great performance from Waldo. All right, first fight on the main card. What a performance from Kyoji Horiguchi. I picked him to win this fight, but I did not think that he was going to absolutely dominate Tagir Ulanbekov in the way that he did. Complete domination all around, striking, grappling, everything. He just made Tagir fold and quit. Amazing performance from Kyoji. Get this dude a title eliminator immediately. I think that, he needs to get a top 5 opponent at this point. I would honestly say, just give him a title shot immediately, but I think that would be a little unfair to the other flyweight contenders. So I think that Pantoja will likely beat Joshua Van, and I think after that, he's probably going to fight either Tatsuro Taira or Manel Kopp, whichever one of those guys wins their next fight, since Taira is going to be fighting Brandon Moreno, and Kopp is going to be fighting Brandon Royval. But if both Kopp and Taira lose, then you could maybe give Kyoji a title shot, because you can't have a third Pantoja versus Royval fight. You can't have a fourth Pantoja versus Moreno fight. So, amazing performance from Horiguchi. He said in his post-fight, because he's teammates with Pantoja, but he said he would still be down to fight him. He said, it was funny as fuck, he said, I don't care, we teammates, I'm going to beat your ass. But, amazing performance from Kyoji Horiguchi. Super excited to see what's next for him. As for Tagir Ulanbekov, I always thought he was kind of a fraud, but I think this one really cemented it. Dude got absolutely whooped, gave up. Really bad performance from him. Khabib is going to have this motherfucker working as soon as he gets back to Dagestan. But yeah, get Kyoji Horiguchi a title eliminator immediately. All right, last fight on the prelims, Luke Riley gets the huge knockout win over Bogdan Grad. Was kind of getting controlled on the ground for most of the first round. Grad was looking pretty, he looked like he was kind of cruising, but as soon as the second round started, Luke Riley just put his foot on the gas, hit him with a huge left hook that almost fucking spun Grad's head all the way around, and finished him off with some ground and pound. This was an amazing win for Luke Riley. This has kind of been the theme of a lot of his wins. He either gets into absolute barn burners or he's kind of like facing adversity early just to come back and get the finish later. But I'm really excited to see what's next for him. He's got a good personality. We already know this. He's got that scouser. He's a scouser like Patty. And yeah, I'm excited to see what's next for him. Hopefully he can get a. I mean, he's another guy who I think should probably get a fight like just outside the rankings. Since Bogdan Grad is a pretty solid UFC fighter. Like he's no slouch. It's not like they gave Luke Riley some can in his first UFC fight. So I think that he deserves a pretty decent step up in competition for his next fight. All right, next up, Nicholas Dalby beats Saigid Izagakmaev by split decision. This fight also like kind of went exactly how I thought it was going to. I said in my breakdown that I thought that it was going to be a really close fight, but for maybe the first time in UFC history, a split decision did not go to the Muslim fighter. Dalby won the decision. I mean, I did think Dalby won the fight, but as soon as they started reading the scorecards, I figured that they were going to give the fight to Izagakmaev, since that's how it almost always goes in the Middle East. They give the Muslim fighter any close decision, but no, they gave it to Dalby this time. Good performance from Dalby, good bounce back after getting brutally knocked out by Randy Brown in his last fight. And as for Saigid, I know Dalby is a tough opponent to face in your UFC debut, but he gassed out pretty badly, so I'm not sure how much success he's going to have in the future. But he'll definitely be back. And great bounce back for Nicholas Dalby. I mean, this dude is just so tough. One of the craftiest vets in the sport that does not get enough credit for being as crafty as he is. I mean, this dude has beat Gabriel Bonfim. He beat Renat Fakhretdinov, even though they gave Fakhretdinov the decision there. Now beat Saigid Izagakmaev. He's quietly one of the craftiest vets in the entire UFC. So, respect to Nicholas Dalby. Azu Almabayev gets the third round guillotine over Alex Perez. This was a pretty good fight. Perez came out swinging. Like I said in my breakdown, I said this was going to be, I thought it was going to be a pretty competitive fight. I think Alex Perez, he showed a lot in his kind of 2024 run. He showed that he's still like, he cares. He wants to be a top contender. And he came out fighting like he wanted to get his way back up the ranks. He was pushing the pace, going after Asu Almabayev. Almabayev's striking did look improved in this fight. He hit Perez with a couple nice like spinning kicks. And overall, it looked a lot better than it did in his last couple fights. But I did think that Almabayev was down 2-0 going to the last round. I know that I think the judges all gave Almabayev one of the rounds, but I thought it was 2-0 Perez. But Almabayev came out in the third round. Perez shot a takedown very quickly, and Almabayev just snatched up that guillotine. Great win for Asu. I think he probably will get a top 5 opponent after this, since he's only had one loss in the UFC against Manel Cap. And for Alex Perez, that's a tough loss. That's a tough loss. He was looking really good, and he just got snatched up, got a little too far ahead of himself, shot a bad takedown, and just got snatched up in that guillotine. But I don't think he got hurt too bad in that fight, so hopefully he'll try and stay active after this one. But great fight. Almabayev, top 5 opponent next, most likely, and Alex Perez, I'm not sure, but I think he'll definitely be back. He looks like he wants to stay active, so excited to see what's next for both of these guys. Abdul Rahman Yakyaev gets the first round sub over Rafael Cerqueira. Great performance from Yakyaev. He just absolutely dominated him in the 30 seconds that the fight lasted. Hit him with a sick like spinning kick at the start of the fight, which wobbled him. Beat him up on the fence, like got him up on the fence, started raining down some shots. Cerqueira fell, and Yakyaev snatched up the sub. I don't want to overreact to this one too much, since Rafael Cerqueira might be the worst fighter in the entire UFC, but this was a very impressive performance from Yakyaev, and I think that he might be one of the few guys in the light heavyweight division. He might be one of the few prospects that actually does have some potential, so I'm excited to see what's next for him. And for Cerqueira, you're cut, buddy. You're 0-4 in the UFC. Got knocked out in the first round 3 times against pretty bad opponents. So your time's up, and goodbye. Beksat Almakhan versus Alexandre Topuria. Topuria gets the decision win. I picked Beksat here, but Topuria definitely won that fight. You could give Beksat the first round. I thought he won the first, but I thought the second and third were pretty clear for Alexandre. He looked really good. His striking looked crisp. His wrestling, when he decided to mix it in, he had some pretty well-timed takedowns. One thing is he doesn't throw a ton on the feet. His output's not very high. And there were a couple moments where I thought that if he wanted to, he could probably try and press for a finish, but he decided not to. But in terms of just like technique and skill, he's very, very good. So I'm excited to see what's next for Alexandre. I would like to see him show some more urgency in his next fight, since in both of his past two fights, I think he's had moments where he could have gotten a finish if he really tried to, but decided not to. But he's still a very high level fighter. I think he's probably going to. I mean, they might even give him a ranked opponent next. I know that's kind of crazy to say, but Beksat's he's a good fighter, and a win over him, especially in the way that he did it, is pretty impressive. And obviously, he's got that Topuria last name. They want to kind of push him up the rankings, so wouldn't be surprised if he got a ranked opponent. As for Beksat, I don't think this is like too bad of a loss. Like I said, Alexandre Topuria is a very good fighter. Beksat definitely had his moments throughout the fight. I think that I would have liked to see him kind of stop himself from getting backed up so easily, since he was basically getting backed up the entire fight. I think he probably could have thrown some more leg kicks, since Topuria wasn't checking them at all, and Beksat just kind of decided to stop throwing them after the first round, but he'll definitely be back. Good fight and a good performance from Alexandre Topuria. Ismail Nardiev gets the first round knockout over Ryan Loder. I mean, this is kind of what I expected. Loder, like I said in my breakdown, is one of the worst strikers I've ever seen, and Nardiev just walked him down and knocked him out pretty easily. So, good win for Nardiev. Nurulo Aliyev beats Shamrock by decision. Another one that was pretty easy to predict. I don't even think Aliyev's that good, even though he's undefeated, but Shamrock did not look very impressive in this fight. It was just kind of a punching bag. But good win for Aliyev. He is still undefeated somehow in the UFC. I think if they give him a better opponent in his next fight, he's probably going to lose, but good for him staying undefeated. And Denzel Freeman gets the decision win over Marek Buljo. I'm going to be totally honest, I didn't even watch this fight, but I heard it absolutely fucking sucked. I heard it was kind of like Ngannou versus Derek Lewis, but I think it seems pretty apparent that neither one of these guys, because they were both making their debut, doesn't seem like either one of them is going to be a real contender in the heavyweight division, which kind of sucks since we definitely need more contenders, but is what it is. All right, there is my reaction to UFC Fight Night Tsarukyan versus Hooker. Like I said at the start, great fight night. Ton of finishes, ton of good fights. I will be posting my welterweight matchmaking video soon. Like I said earlier, I'm going to wait for the rankings update to drop, but as soon as that happens, I'll put that video out. And if you guys have any other video ideas that you would like to see me make, just let me know in the comments, since we don't have no fight night, no pay-per-view next weekend, so I'm kind of limited on the content that I can make. But if you guys have any like specific videos that you want to see, just let me know in the comments. As always, make sure to leave a like on the vid, subscribe to the channel, and thank you guys for watching.